What's good, YouTube? It's NoWayJeric, and I'm back with another Black Ops 7 video. Today, we'll be talking about the prestige, no pun intended, of the Call of Duty story throughout the years and the steep fall off they have taken with the campaign and how it was, like the contrast of how it was back in the old days, back between COD 4 to, like, in my opinion, Black Ops 2 and just everything. What happened? Like, what was basically the downfall of Call of Duty campaigns? But before we get into that, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all the support y'all been showing me. We back. I told y'all, you can look on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We back with more vids. We back to grinding. I'm not trying to be inconsistent no more. I told you this whole month I got a goal that I'm trying to reach, and this video is one of those videos that I really want to put out because this needs to be a discussion that we need to talk about more. COD might as well just stop making campaigns at this point. Just stop, take the BO4 route, stop making campaigns. But anyways, before we get into that, like I said, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate all the love and support y'all been showing me. Let's get into it. First, starting off, anybody who hasn't watched my previous vids, I made it very clear that I think of all the FPS games I've ever played in my life, and I'm an FPS gamer. I've played a couple. I haven't really dived into Halo that much, but I played my fair share of Halos. Played every COD campaign, played Doom, loved Doom. I've played a good amount of FPS games growing up. In my opinion, I think Black Ops 1 by far has the best story out of any FPS game. Just the whole story, the vibe, the 1960s Vietnam, the sleeper agent concept, Mason, Woods, like the characters in the game, Bowman, Krachenko, Steiner, all that. Like, it was a really, really great story. Like, for an FPS game, it has one of the best stories, like, in gaming history, in my opinion. Like, and that's why Black Ops 1 is my favorite COD, and that's, like, by far, I think, the best Call of Duty campaign I've ever had. It was just so, it was kind of like lightning in a bottle how they wrote that story, and like how all of the twists and turns like came into, like how it just all unraveled, how the story just unraveled throughout the whole game. Learning that, you know, if you haven't played the game, 15 years by the way, if you haven't played the game, excuse me, finding out Reznov wasn't even there the whole time, like that was just I'm 9 years old, like playing a game, I'm like, wait, he wasn't there. Like I didn't even understand or grasp like how crazy that was back then in 2010. Like, Reznov was never there. Like, this nigga Mason was a sleeper agent. That shit still like hits home today. Like, how the hell did they think of that? And like, just the way they revealed it, like with Hudson, like the whole time it was Hudson talking to you in the little like that, I don't know the word to call it, but you know how he was talking to you like upstairs in that little room or whatever, and you were on the you know, torturing chair, electric chair, whatever that shit was. But just like how it got revealed was just like insane to me. I love Black Ops 1. Also, just like the subject matter that they touched on, like I said, with the sleeper agents, the war crimes, the things that people were doing back in the day, like, you know how I was about to say a crazy word, but you know how those specific people in Germany, I'm not going to say the word, I don't want to get demonetized, but they were like testing on people, you know, testing on, you know, human experiments. Same shit was happening in other countries around the world. Like I don't think we understand. I don't think that game will be made today. I don't think you can make a game touching on those different subject matters, like I said previously. I don't think you can make a game today like that. Like, it literally changed the whole landscape of campaigns. Like, that campaign was phenomenal. But unfortunately, like, we are far removed from like the glory days of a campaign on that level. Black Ops 1, probably the peak campaign, like I said, but we are far removed from the days of like NW2, COD 4, World at War, even Infinite Warfare, for example. We are far removed from those glory days of every time you buy a new COD, the first thing you would do is play the campaign. I don't know how how y'all operate it, but I wouldn't say I would beat the campaign in one day. But like, when I first got a COD when I was little, probably until I want to say maybe World War II or no BO4, because BO4 was the first COD that didn't have a campaign. So I was always the kid that, like, when I got COD games, I would always play the campaign first. Like, even World War II had a really good campaign in my opinion. But anyway, so like I said, far removed from those campaigns. In my opinion, I feel like the peak campaigns years, like if I had to tell you a stretch of years where the campaigns were really good, it will be between COD 4 and BO2. A lot of people will throw Ghost in there. I think Ghost is fucking shitty, but we'll get into that later on. But from COD 4 to BO2, that's when Call of Duty did not miss with a game in general, but with a campaign in specific. every campaign to me was phenomenal. Like COD 4, 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 campaign, maybe a 9. That campaign was amazing. World at War, one of the best World War II stories ever told. I give that campaign like a 9 out of 10. NW2, 10 out of 10. BO1, 10 out of 10. NW3, 7 maybe, still decent, still good, and BO2 10 out of 10. So they really were not missing in those stretch of years. Like they were really on their shit, making some of the best FPS campaigns we've ever seen. The reason why I give NW3 kind of a lower rating is because I feel like the campaign was kind of rushed in some aspects, like the story, Soap's death. I know that's kind of controversial. Rest in peace, my nigga Soap. But NW3 still had pretty good missions and pretty good like mission structure when it came to like the type of missions you were doing. I remember that one mission in specific, like started. Was it the first mission of the game where like New York is being invaded by like that mission was crazy. Was it Russians? I don't want to like sound ignorant, but I forgot who was invading New York City. But it was crazy. That mission, you start off in the helicopter, you go down, and it's like New York is being destroyed. Crazy missions in that game. But it wasn't what I thought it would be in terms of like the story and the writing. And like I said, it felt like it was kind of rushed. NW3 was, but anyways, all the other CODs in between are all up. Like I said, all the other CODs, COD 4 between BO2 are all like 8, 9s, 10s in my opinion. As a result of that, now this is where I feel like COD started showing cracks in the armor. And I know this sounds controversial because like I said earlier in the video, I don't think COD Ghost was a good COD at all. I know people are very, very nostalgic over that game. That game, from a gameplay aspect, in my opinion, is not good. Like it's made very well. It's not like it was unoptimized or anything. The servers were pretty ass. Oh no. That was in W3. Ghost servers actually had pretty good hit rate. Okay, I'll give it that. Ghost, if I'm talking about like unbiased, just from a pure game, it's like a 5. Like it's a good base game. Like it works. It plays. Like it's not a bad made game, if that makes sense. But in terms of pure gameplay, one of the quickest TTA games ever. Some of the maps, like that damn Stonehaven map, was ass. What's the map called? Tremor was ass. The only map I liked in that game was like Warhawk. The maps were ass. Extinction was ass, but I loved Extinction. And campaign was like one of the worst campaigns of all time. I don't know if it was the writing in specific or like the voice actors they hired for that game, but like that whole part where like those two brothers, like I just fell off the map. Those two brothers, and their dad, or the two brothers that were in the, like you play as one of the brother and you have a brother that you play with in the campaign or whatever. Their dad had like got captured like during that whole siege or whatever, when people were invading, like in the first mission, you know what I'm talking about, when he's explaining like, oh, this is what the ghost meant or whatever. Their dad gets captured, and then when they reveal, or when you finally meet up with your dad, like you find out where he was and he reveals he's a ghost, the nigga's reaction was like, dad? Like he hasn't seen his dad in like 5-10 years or some shit, because it was like a time skip. He sees his dad, because he's been thinking his dad has like been captured and has been probably tortured, dead this whole time. The first time he sees him, dad? Like what kind of delivery was that? But anyways though, that's when I feel like COD kind of made like I would say a below average campaign. I did not like that campaign. There were some cool missions when you're like on the skyscraper and you're rappelling down or whatever, and you infiltrate that little building or whatever. Cool mission, but the ending, I will admit, Ghost ending was pretty good. Like old boy was still alive. I forgot his name, but like he gets out the water, and he like captures you. That ending was kind of fire because it was just an open ended, like it was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger for sure. But that's when I felt like I said, Ghost kind of started showing cracks. In my opinion, yeah, Ghost is one of the worst campaigns. I feel like when that game came out, there was like a shift in how people felt about campaigns, because the writing and, like I said, the voice acting performances were not, like, they were very, very stale. And I don't want this like vid to be like a COD deep dive, like going back and just talking about other CODs. So I'm gonna try to like speed run this, but like for the most part, AW had some really cool missions. I remember that training sim mission you had when you first meet Kevin Spacey. That was a cool mission. Like it was all like a training simulation. You thought you liked that or some shit. BO3, I ain't gonna lie, BO3 story is like a 0 out of 10, 1 out of 10 for me. That shit's ass. It made no sense. The concept was cool when I was 14, but like you really think about it and think about like what they were trying to do, it literally made no sense, and the execution was so fucking poor. Some cool missions though, and IW, in my opinion, This might sound controversial too if you never played IW. Infinite Warfare had one of the best campaigns of all time. In my opinion, it might be like top 3, top 4. Like the first mission when you literally hop into the damn spaceship and you go like you fly up into space. I didn't really like the actual like space like warfare like squadrons type missions that they had in that game. I wasn't a fan of those, but the actual missions were hella cool. You were going on like what was it, like Pluto's moon or Mars moon or some shit, and like the fire, bro. Infinite Warfare's campaign is a gem. Y'all have to play that shit whenever you have time. Infinite Warfare's campaign was a gem. I love that campaign. Furthermore, following the theme, you can see COD was like in a downwards trend when it came to making campaigns, and like the formula was getting kind of outdated. Like I said previous, like the campaigns, writing the stories, they try to like take more and more risk, but the execution and the payoff of all those risks wasn't like worth the reward wasn't worth the risk. God, bro, that was a tongue twister. You replay that and say that shit quick. Like I'm keeping that in. But anyways, like I said, the reward wasn't worth the risk in the decisions, the writing choices they were making with these campaigns, because it didn't, like I said, the payoff wasn't it. The execution was off. Like Black Ops 3, the whole, Chris Angel mindfuck, it was all a dream like concept. It didn't work because we found out later on that the whole comic book from the campaign was different or some shit. Like it didn't make any sense. That BO3 campaign makes me mad because BO3 is a classic, and if it had a good campaign, we might be calling that shit the GOAT. Like if we're really being honest, that shit might be the GOAT if it had like even just a decent campaign. But that campaign was ass. Anyways, though, furthermore, like I said, the quality of the campaigns were going down, and it wasn't as tight and concise as like the previous CODs were. Like I said, COD 4 between BO2, tight, concise, grounded campaigns that really made you feel like you were, in that action, Michael Bay action movie. With like decent solid writing, like I said, with BO1, NW2, COD 4, like really good, tight, concise stories. And I think a lot of that came from the original devs that were at Treyarch, that were at Activision too, but that were at Treyarch, IW, even Sledgehammer later on. The original devs and writers left to make other shit. Most of them went to Respawn. They made Titanfall. They made Titanfall 2, one of the most influential and one of the greatest FPS games of all time. Made Apex Legends, made Star Wars. Like the old COD devs are low key goated as hell. They made the old CODs, COD 4 to BO2. Then they went and made a whole ass new Star Wars game, a whole new FPS game, and one of the greatest BRs of all time. Shout out Respawn. Shout out the old COD devs. Like I don't know any names off the top in particular, but shout out all y'all. Y'all are really in my opinion, one of the top 5 most goated like companies. Like that small group of people who made the old campaigns and then just went on and made like 3 bangers back to back to back. Like shit's crazy. In addition to that, you could tell the games overall were going in a different direction with the microtransaction boom that happened with AW supply drops, BO3 supply drops, and then we get into Fortnite with BO4, like in the same year, same time span. We're getting battle passes, we're getting battle royales, etc. You could tell COD was taking that live service route more so than ever. It was already kind of like a live service game, like back in the old days, but now we're going full fledged into this route, and as people like to say, like the whole NW19 Warzone Slack canceling era till now, probably the worst era of COD. In my opinion, I do agree it's the worst era of COD. Even though I probably in the best at these type of games, respectfully, but it's in terms of quality, it is the worst era of like COD games we've ever had. And then we get, like I said, to the Warzone era, and it's just Activision just stops. I feel like trying to. Not Activision in particular, which they probably are doing from the top. They probably are telling Treyarch and IW, Sledgehammer, work on getting the skins in the game, work on making Warzone a good product, bring people back in and playing that mode, because 2020 Warzone was like the most popular fucking game. So from the top, it's probably them telling them like, yeah, let's not put too much focus and energy and some of our time and resources into making a good campaign. No, let's put it into Warzone, let's put it into Battle Pass, let's put it into skins, microtransactions. Activision is a greedy company. They were bought out for $60 billion from Microsoft. Like they had to make money, and Microsoft too. They're at the top of the top. They're probably telling Activision, "Yo, let's keep making more money." And it's sad to say, this is off topic from the campaign conversation. It's sad to say that Black Ops 7 is not going to sell well. It's probably going to be the worst selling COD of all time, even though it's one of, I don't, you know my opinion, my stance on it. It's one of the best CODs ever, and it will be that. It's not there yet, but I don't have to wait and see. I can already tell from this game, from gameplay wise, it's going to be one of the best CODs ever. I don't have to wait and see that. But unfortunately, it's going to go down as one of the worst selling CODs of all time, and that's going to be very bad for Treyarch. Or telling that to Activision, like, yo, like, we didn't sell well. They're gonna look at Infinity Ward, who are making another NW2 fucking clone, no side cancel, no movement, just straight up irons the whole fucking time. They're gonna be telling them, yo, make that game you made 2 years ago and do it all over again for Modern Warfare 4, because we're gonna get people back. And it's like, dude, that formula. I'm gonna make a whole video about COD's formula being outdated, and this is low-key starting to be the end. But if they do that shit, I'm telling you, I'm really gonna like decide on whether or not I'm gonna like still play COD, because I'm not gonna play a trash ass COD for you. I can't play NW2 all over again. I can't do it, bro. In conclusion, though, I feel like at this point you've already made a good product. COD has already made a good product without having a proper campaign, a proper story to add on with it. At this point, just stop making campaigns. I don't want to see no more campaigns. I'm not even like, I haven't played a campaign all the way through since NW2, and that's because I'm pretty sure NW2, if I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure it did happen where like the campaign came out a week before the actual game, which had, that's also a smart strategy. Like, shout out to IW for actually doing something right for once. Actually, like, if you're going to have a campaign, just drop it early so people can get a taste of what the game's going to be, because that was actually smart. It actually got people wanting to play the game. People already finished that campaign like a day anyways, but like, it actually got people wanting to play NW2, even though that shit ended up being fucking ass, one of the worst CODs ever, maybe the worst. It actually got people wanting to play the game, and then brought like the old heads back, like, oh, this campaign was pretty good. Like, NW2's campaign was decent. It was like a 7 out of 10. Like, it was cool. It was decent. But like, at this point, you've already shown you can make a good product, and one of the best games, like Black Ops 4, for example, you can already show people that you don't need to make a campaign no more. People don't want a campaign no more. Battlefield 6, best-selling game this year maybe, and I think it will be, didn't have a crazy campaign. I don't know if the campaign was even good or bad or not, but I don't think it was like anything crazy. I didn't hear nothing about it. I know y'all didn't hear nothing about it. Y'all don't need to make a campaign no more. FPS games, if you're not like trying to tell a certain story or try to tell a good story, just don't even make campaigns. Call of Duty, stop making campaigns. Take the BO4 route from now on, and just stop making stories. Nobody's gonna play that shit. I'm not playing that shit. I don't even hop on COD and look at campaign. When I download COD and I hop on COD, I make sure that I delete the portion that has campaign. Like, I'm deleting that shit off my hard drive, because I know I'm never gonna touch it. I'm not a fan of COD no more, or COD stories no more. They're ass now, and nobody else is a fan of those stories either. Like, you're not gonna get little kids to play Black Ops or Call of Duty campaigns. This isn't 07, 2012 no more. Nobody's gonna be playing those campaigns. So that's my final statement, my final point in the video. As you can see, if you've watched my TikTok, I've made the same TikTok about my sentiment about it. I'm very passionate about this topic because, like I said, from COD 4 to BO2, some of the best stretches of like FPS stories ever. Then we get, some, like I said, some what's the word? Some clunks, some chunks, what's the word? God, some cracks in the armor. I was trying to think of what I said earlier, but as always, hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, that was my final point I was making. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Like, what's y'all's favorite campaign? What do y'all think like happened to the campaign? Why like this shit just went from like some of the greatest peak stories we've ever had to like some of the worst we've ever had? Like Black Ops 7, Treyarch keeps doing this whole psychological Chris Angel mindfuck. They literally, they're like meetings. I know how the group meetings go. They get a script, they get like a concept that they should do, and they're just like, let's do the most outlandish, crazy shit ever to like fit with the whole psychological mindfuck concept. Anyways, I'm not gonna get too into that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all the love and support y'all been showing me. More videos on the way. This was one of my more longer videos. Goddamn. But hope you enjoy it. Like I said, comment down below. If you're not a subscriber yet, sub. We got more videos on the way. Like I said, rank play coming out soon. We're gonna be on that. And as always, hope you have a great day. Stay safe, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy.